Welcome to our podcast. Rise Life Services presents Talk to Me, hosted by the Enrichment Experience Suicide Prevention Program. Enjoy the talk. Our disclaimer: Aid to the Developmentally Disabled, Inc., DBA, Rise Life Services. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed are the speaker's own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of Rise Life Services. The material and information presented here is for general discussion purposes only. Rise Life Services. Name and all forms and abbreviations are the property of its owner, with no intent to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, individual, or anyone or anything. In addition, it does not imply endorsement of or opposition to any specific organization, product, or service. The information provided and discussed is not for professional advice. Rise Life Services is not responsible for any losses, damages, or liabilities that may arise from the use of this podcast. You should always consult with your own personal mental health provider and/or professional prior to taking any action based upon information presented. If you are thinking about suicide, struggling with substance use, experiencing a mental health crisis, or any other kind of emotional distress, you can call, text, or chat the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, connecting you to trained crisis counselors 24/7. In case of an emergency, call 911.
Hi, welcome back to Talk to Me, the podcast run by Rise Life Services Enrichment Experience Program. Today's topic is sleeping and eating habits.
Hi, how's it going? I have a lot of experience with good eating habits and then poor eating habits, good sleep habits and then poor sleep habits. So I'm excited to talk about this topic today. Currently, I work 2 jobs and my sleep habits are very poor and it really affects my mental health. Not sleeping regularly, routinely, affects the way I think more negatively. I walk around tired all the time, and the poor eating habits, when I'm tired, I go into poor eating habits because I'm too tired to cook, too tired to spend that time to eat a healthy meal or make a healthy meal. So now I'm finding myself eating McDonald's or something quick and easy because I'm tired, and I feel like it's a cycle because that stuff, in my opinion, affects my mental health as well because of what is put in it, what it's cooked with, and the combination of the two can really affect how you're feeling. How do you guys feel about it?
I feel that eating habits can have a hard, tough time, and sometimes there are days where people, or myself including, would have a hard time trying to find what we need to eat healthy or something that's, craving what we're craving for. And it can be tough, but there are easy ways to find a way to get what you want and what's healthy for you. And yeah,
because it seems like what's quick and easy isn't always the healthiest choice, and when you want to eat healthy, cost can come into play. Stuff that's natural and it doesn't last as long. You want to buy fruits and vegetables and eat healthy. That stuff goes bad. You buy frozen things that will last longer, but you have preservatives and things that are going to affect your body, and it all ties into your mental health. I find when I'll have a nice dinner, or if I make a salmon with some vegetables, the next day I feel just better, not just physically, but emotionally happier. I get along with people easier. On a night where I have, like I say, a McDonald's or some kind of fast food or something that's not healthy, the next day I'm sluggish. I think negatively, and I'm more short with people, or I can't socialize. And I feel like that sleep and eating is such an important part of keeping your mental health stable and positive?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I feel like a lot of the times when you're under pressure or anxious or stressed, and that healthy diet can kind of go by the wayside. But I think it really is important to focus on it, because even though it seems like such a small thing, it does, like just said, has a huge impact. Like, for me, as I work this job, but then I'm also a student right now. If I'm not eating healthy or I'm not eating well, I definitely notice my energy, when I get home and it's time to study. If I haven't been eating well, like we were saying, fast food, I'm just sluggish. It's hard to think. It's hard to focus. But if I'm eating the right stuff and making sure I'm getting my sleep and all that, it definitely helps me feel more, not just like ready for the next day and ready to do stuff, but just better in general. Like we were saying, just getting along with people, feeling less stressed, and kind of being able to relax are easier if I'm taking care of my diet and my sleep.
How many hours a night of sleep do you guys get on a regular basis?
I get, yeah, they're gonna be crazy about this, but I get like 4 or 3 hours of sleep sometimes then. But most of the time, if I sleep early, that's like a good praise for me, because usually if I don't get enough sleep, then I'm just bummed out, and I just lose my energy and everything, my motivation and all of that. And all I want is to have this empty feeling to fill up and feel better and feel more energized more,
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Yeah, I get maybe 7 hours of sleep, which is not the greatest. I mean, better than 3 or 4.
Better than 3 or 4, for sure.
But,
Yeah.
the norm is like 8 or 9. But, sleeping and eating right definitely coincides with your mental health and how you act throughout the day. Like, if you don't eat and sleep well, then you're probably gonna end up being cranky and not energized. So that's why it's so important for your mental health. So yeah.
Can I ask you guys, so how many of you guys sleep with the TV on?
No, I don't.
You don't sleep with the TV on?
I do.
De Niro?
I do. I definitely do.
Yeah, I can make that up.
You do? I do as well. Yeah, so I'll keep the TV on, and I feel like that affects me. And I've actually read things about how the blue lighting of the television or your cell phone can, if you're focused on that lighting, it's going to take longer for you to fall asleep, and it actually affects the type of sleep you're getting, like the REM sleep or the, when you're getting that real sleep. We've all been, tossing and turning, and you feel like you're kind of sleeping, but you're not fully sleeping. You know that feeling? Where
yeah,
it's like,
I know what you mean.
you're like
'cause
half
I
asleep.
do that all the
But you're
time,
still
yeah.
listening to the TV.
right,
probably.
like you're still thinking, but hours are going by, but you don't feel like you've been out. You're still kind of a little aware. I feel like that's the kind of sleep I've been getting a lot lately. So I've been trying to shut down the TV, my devices, keep it away from me earlier, so that gives me more time to wind down. And I do get that temptation to reach over to my phone or turn the TV back on, because now half an hour's gone by and I haven't fallen asleep yet. But I do try to fight that temptation of that.
Yeah, it's really interesting, because I've heard that too, the blue light from the TV, and I sleep with the TV on also, and I don't really watch it. It's more for like background noise. I like having some background noise, and I didn't think it would affect my sleep that much. But then I noticed, like, over time, I'm like, I was waking up in the middle of the night, and even a few times, I'd be dreaming, and the things that that would be happening in my dream, I would kind of like wake up,
and like what I was hearing was what was on the TV.
Yes.
Oh my
So
gosh.
my brain is still engaged, and
Yes.
I'm not really resting, which is I had no idea that was possible. But yeah, it's I definitely agree with putting the devices away and turning them off as much as it's as difficult as it is. Maybe there's alternatives like sound machines or if you have a screen and some decent AC during the summer, just cracking a window to hear the bugs or something. But the screens are definitely not great for sleep.
Yeah, I could see why people like put away their phones maybe an hour before going to sleep, and maybe reading a book instead to get their mind going, and not like putting their eyes on some TV. This all makes sense to me because I didn't know all this blue light could affect your sleep as much, because I don't sleep with my TV on, so I didn't know all this. But yeah, I definitely recommend maybe a sound machine or reading a book instead.
Yeah. And another thing that's helped me lately is, which I've never done before, is silencing my notifications when I go to
yes,
sleep.
I always do that.
I've never done that before, but it's really helped me lately, of just not hearing that
Buzz.
the buzz of whatever.
Notification, yeah.
Yeah, the notifications.
So what do you guys do when you can't go to sleep?
Sometimes I know TV's not the best option, but I will put on some calming, nice music, or some atmosphere music or something like that, like space or jazz or something calming and smoothing for me.
Like lo-fi?
Yeah,
Yeah.
something that makes me fall asleep. And usually TV's not the best option, but it's the only option for me when it comes down to learning how to sleep well. When I hear good noises in my head, so yeah.
That's a great suggestion, is the calming music.
Yeah.
For me, it's about temperature. Temperature also affects. So
Yeah.
if I'm
Too
too
hot.
hot, it's hard to fall asleep. If I'm too cold, so I'll adjust the temperature, and that usually will help.
For me, it's I always have to sleep with a fan on so I could block out the noises in my house. So the fan is kind of loud, so that helps me fall asleep without. And I always sleep with the do not disturb on my phone, so I don't hear it go off. But yeah, that's what. In the dark room, of course, I need my blinds and all that. But yeah, that's what helps me go to sleep. What about you?
Honestly, I think it's just making things as comfortable as possible. Maybe I'll kind of get out of bed and do a quick reset, rearrange the pillows, my blankets and stuff, just so I'm my bed is nice and comfy and set up nice.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, and then just making sure the light is dim and stuff. Like I said, I do sleep with the TV on, but I'll turn all the lights off. I will try my best to maybe face away from the TV if the sounds help me go to sleep. And yeah, just try to make it as comfortable as I can. All right, so that wraps it up for another episode of the Talk to Me podcast, brought to you by Rise Life Services. Thank you for listening, and if you enjoyed this episode, you can visit us at www.riselifeservices.org to connect further, or check out some of our other episodes on Spotify or our YouTube channel. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
That wraps up another episode of Talk to Me. We hope today's conversation brought insight, encouragement, or maybe just a moment of reflection. Remember, your voice matters, and we're here to keep the dialogue going. Whether you're part of the Rise community or just tuning in, we're grateful to have you with us. Be sure to follow us on your favorite podcast platform and stay connected at riselifeservices.org, online for mental health support, services, updates, resources, and future episodes. Until next time, take care of yourself, support each other, and keep talking. Thanks for listening to Talk to Me. If you are thinking about suicide, struggling with substance use, experiencing a mental health crisis, or any other kind of emotional distress, you can call, text, or chat the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, connecting you to trained crisis counselors 24/7. In case of an emergency, call 911